Joyful, The Surprising Power of Ordinary Things to Create Extraordinary Happiness by Ingrid Fetell. I feel like joy is one of those aspects of our lives that often feels like a nice to have or an extra, or sometimes something we shouldn't even hope for because it seems so much more than we should get. And yet we know that without joy, as the author says, we are surviving, we aren't thriving. And the thing about becoming an entrepreneur and running your own business is that we want to thrive, that we want to work hard and we want to work smart and we want to have joy. If that joy comes in through only working with clients whom we like, if it's only working with people on our team, whether they're W-2 or whether they're contractors, whom we like and trust and value, there should be joy in our work. And yet somehow a lot of the times that joy can get missed in the grind, in the day-to-day, in the hustle, in the minutia. And so I thought it was really important for those of us inside of a community of entrepreneurs to be thinking about this concept of joy. What I love about Lee's book is she tells us that there's nothing special that we need to learn necessarily to bring joy back into our lives. It's not a discipline we have to study. Rather, it's an openness to joy. It's an awareness of our surroundings. It's thinking differently about what already exists, not creating something new, not spending tons of money, not fretting over lists of things. Rather, looking through the world through a different lens. Throughout the book, she brings in design experts and she brings in business owners and she brings in this concept of aesthetics, which I really love. In thinking about your business, what are your aesthetics? What are the things that you bring in that bring resonance for people? Whether that's joy, whether it's focus, whether it's giddiness, happiness. How are you making working with you and your business a joyful experience? The book talks about colors. You could be using vibrant colors. It talks about shapes and how circles are very important. Thinking about your work, where can you incorporate circles? Whether it's in a logo, whether it's in the name of your business, whether it's in some of the graphics you use, knowing that curved lines bring people in, whereas angular lines sometimes can make them feel left out or like they don't belong or that it's austere. These small changes that we can make, the vibrancy of the colors. And she talks about people who are afraid of using too much color, how to add a splash of it, whether it's a splash of it to your wardrobe, a splash of it to your website, a splash of it to your home or your office. That these colors actually change the way people engage. Have you ever thought about joy in your business? If not, how can you use the tenets of this book to bring more joy, knowing that when people feel joyful, they're automatically engaged with what you're doing. They feel like they are picking up what you're putting down. They want more of you, more of what you're offering. Joy creates a level of irresistibility that I think everyone of us who is in business really wants to have. Inside this book, she specifically speaks about 10 aesthetics: energy, abundance, freedom, harmony, play, surprise, transcendence, magic, celebration, and renewal. I recommend you take a couple of these and think about how you can incorporate these 10 aesthetics into your business offerings. If you're in a service business, if you're in a product business, recognizing the power these aesthetics have was such an eye-opener for me. It was one of those moments where I said, of course this makes sense, and yet I had never myself actually thought about it in those terms. Think about surprise. Is there a way you can add an element of surprise to your work so that people really feel excited, jubilant, elated because they just weren't expecting that. They'll remember that. That's what imprints on our minds, that element of surprise. Can you make something you're doing a little bit more playful? Can you make internal meetings more playful, or meetings with your clients more playful? Can you bring something about that makes them feel like they are an active participant in an unexpected way? Thinking about magic. We know that when something feels magical, it takes us to another plane. Think about the work you are doing. What is magic about your work? Because I know there's something there. And how can you continue to focus on that magic and to expand that magic to make your customers that much more delighted? Freedom. Is the work you are doing enabling somebody to feel more free? If so, articulate that. Freedom is something that urges us on. It's a state of being that everybody wants. So if freedom is an aspect of your work that you hadn't been actually directly stating to your clients, even though it always was a tenet of the work or it was a value of yours, make sure that you're being more explicit about that. Bring freedom up in ways that they will connect with you and with your product. Thinking about energy. What kind of energy are you bringing to your conversations? Are you bringing to your materials, your presentations? Knowing that your energy is going to radiate in ways that make other people want to be around you more. That is critical for those of us especially who are always the ones representing our companies. How can we make sure that when people see us, they think of radiance and energy and joy and light? Celebration. She talks about confetti and how one single confetto, which is the singular, is a piece of paper that maybe you would, brush off of your leg if you saw it, or if it was stuck in your hair, you'd pick it out. But when all of the small pieces of paper combine, all of a sudden it's this incredible joy. Keep that confetti in your drawer, or put that confetti somewhere when you're going to a meeting. And if something good happens, throw it around. People will not only be surprised, but they will feel joy in that moment. It's that skipping, hopping happiness piece that you can bring with you as you think about these 10 aesthetics and incorporating them into your business. You may also want to think about the spaces you inhabit, whether it's your office or your home office. What can you do in those spaces to make you feel joy? Because when you are joyous, you are more likely to infuse joy into what you are doing. Thinking about joy in this deliberate way is a great part of your day-to-day routine. In fact, at the end of the book, Lee includes a joyful toolkit and some great resources and exercises on how to think really deeply about how to incorporate these concepts into your personal life, into your professional life. And I highly recommend that you take a look at that. You can go onto her website as well and download the toolkit. I love this book because it opened my eyes to something that I think I had been missing. The idea that joy can be incorporated into our day, every day, in big and small ways, is something I know that I plan to think deeply about for the future of my business and of my life. Joyful. The surprising power of ordinary things to create extraordinary happiness. I hope you enjoyed this book as much as I did. Bye.